Welcome to The Work That Matters. I'm Shannon Eastman. I'm the host of the conversations that take place at the intersection of personal and business growth. I'm delighted to have Jennifer Cahill on the show today. I brought her on to talk to her about her recent passion project that she has just brought to life, Give, Take, Grow. It's a peer coaching network for professional women. Why I was interested is Jennifer runs a very successful, busy business, Savvi Recruitment. She's a mom. She's also doing a master's degree, and she has now just brought this project to life. So I wanted to talk to her about why. What is it about this project that was so important to her? What her vision is for it going into 2021, and maybe the process that each one of us goes through when we step into uncertainty about something we believe in. We trigger the gremlins, so to speak, and yet we push through it. She definitely did. So this conversation is maybe here to inspire you about a project that you're thinking of bringing to life, or maybe it's to check out Give, Take, Grow. I highly recommend you check out Jennifer Cahill over on LinkedIn. I think she's definitely someone who's worth knowing. So I'll leave you to our conversation. I hope you enjoy it. And the website for the project again is givetakegrow.ie. So it is great to have you on the show, Jen. I've known you through Savvi Recruitment.
Yes.
I have watched what you're doing with Give, Take, Grow recently. You've just launched a peer coaching for professional women. And I had an idea the other day. I thought, God, what drove her to do that? What is this about and where is she taking it? So Jen, welcome. I'm happy to have you here.
Thanks very much for having me, Shannon. Pleasure.
Give, Take, Grow is a passion project because you're still Savvi Recruitment.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Okay, so you're also a mom. You work
in my spare time.
In your spare time, you've brought this project to life. It must be very important to you.
It is. And there's lots of reasons why, as you say, there's other things going on, lots of other things going on that probably didn't, that and I it's kind of sat with that this year for quite a while going, okay, is there capacity or do I have capacity to do this?
Because you're also doing a master's degree, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I started that in October. Yeah, I know, on paper, madness. But these are, I don't know if it's just this year and having, sort of a reflective year, probably like a lot of people, but it's something I kind of was compelled that I had to do it. I feel so strongly that there is a need for it. But it just, again, I did a coaching diploma earlier this year, and it just the power of that, even for me, in terms of the class and what I got out of that as a personal experience, not even just from learning the coaching ropes, but just talking to peers, particularly at a time like this, was hugely valuable. And I thought there isn't really that avenue out there for women. Particularly women. I just feel that men probably just form these informal kind of professional networks much better. There's less expected of each other nearly in those kind of relationships. And we feel a little bit more hesitant, I think, to ask things of others if we don't know them really, really well, or they're not a really good friend or a friend of a friend. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's lots of women out there, because I know I'm one of them, who would love to and has had the benefit of having people on a similar journey of going self-employed as I did 3 years ago, and just being able to pick up the phone and say, look, hey, are you really struggling with this? What did you do? Just really small, sometimes really innocuous things, but they're so important. And it's just nice to know you're not alone. You know what I mean? And I think there's so many women, we probably keep an awful lot of stuff to ourselves and don't share maybe things that we just maybe struggling with, or we're wondering, God, am I the only one that's struggling with this? And there are some unique challenges as women in a professional context that men don't have to deal with. And I do think it's important to talk about that and to share that, because I do think there is a massive amount of knowledge and wisdom there that we're not tapping into at the moment. And from what I found, I just think it's because we don't have the avenue to tap into it. If we don't know others personally or on the same journey, like, we're not going to just reach out on Facebook and go, hey, you look like you're doing something similar to me. Like, we just wouldn't do that. So I wanted to try and demystify it. I want to try and make it easy for people to connect with people they don't know who are on a similar journey. And I think there's an attractiveness in that you don't know them. They have to take you as you come to the peer session. They have no background on you. And again, I find that with some of the sessions I've been in, and I'm part of a peer group as well, which is what helped me kind of formulate this idea. And it's just amazing, actually, to be in a virtual room with people who have no preconceptions about you and share things that possibly you wouldn't share with other people about what you're going through at the moment, and just get those perspectives from others. Again, the idea has been compounded by my experience of how valuable that was.
Wow. So, is that the peer-to-peer coaching by Kevin Fahey over at Essence of Leadership?
Yes, yes, and
So he
shout out
is
to Kevin because
free.
he's a superstar. He's
He is.
unbelievable.
He is. I've been to his peer-to-peer coaching at the hotels before COVID, and I had not had any peer-to-peer coaching experience prior to that event. And I think one of the reasons why I attended it is one, I just adore Kevin. I just think he's so good at what he does. And he's got such an interesting and diverse background as a CEO and running businesses. And now he wants to use that skill set and experience to facilitate peer-to-peer coaching. And I remember
Yeah.
sat in that room with a group of my peers that I'd never met before. And I was blown away by the different perspectives, skill sets, and
Mm.
experiences that were put on the table to address a real issue going on with an individual in the room that day. I learned so much
Yeah.
from it. So, oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, give, take, grow. I've been following what you're doing, and full disclosure, I've been a sounding board and a resource for you to help bring it to the form that it is today. But one of the things that I was struck by is it's not just a community; it's a peer coaching for professional women network,
Yes.
which I like because I feel like that gives it a bit of structure and a framework and a almost like an objective and a mission that you sign up for when you register to be part of it. So, for people who've never heard of peer coaching, how would you describe it?
So yeah, so it's so the idea is that you're connected and put in groups with people who are at a similar juncture, maybe in terms of career. You know what I mean? There are people who are just starting out. There may be a few years out of college. There is others, midway through mid management, but maybe there's a particular part of their career that they're at. Maybe it's coming back from a career break or maternity leave or whatever it might be. And effectively, peer coaching is sharing maybe an issue, just what's going on in your life, and putting it out there to people who are on a similar journey and just gaining their insights. So it's not about them necessarily giving you advice. It's facilitated by me as kind of coach, and we have a team of coaches as well. So it is facilitated. So there's a set theme per session rather than let's all just come in and talk generally about what's going on. So there is a theme, a central theme for every session, but it is about just hearing maybe what resonates for somebody else in the group based on what you've just shared. And I've experienced that is really powerful actually. So they're not giving you advice, they're just sharing what they've heard and kind of reiterating what they're hearing. And that can be very, very different to what you're hearing in your own head as you are
Oh my
saying it,
goodness, yes.
which actually is the most incredible. Like that for me, actually, I think is what everybody needs to get themselves in a group to hear. It's actually not what you hear yourself saying, but what somebody else has heard you say and what strikes them about that. Because there's been times when I've definitely done that in Kevin's peer to peer, and it's really struck me actually that what people can pick up about you in
Yeah,
terms of the way you've said it, or just again, these have been obviously over Zoom virtually, but it is really, really powerful. And I do think it's just invaluable. It has been invaluable to
it
me.
is.
So it's
I
it's
wanted to just pull up on a couple things that you just said now. One is that we are sharing experiences with an individual who happens to be
yes.
opening up on a particular theme. But we're also listening to how that person presents their situation and holding up a mirror to show and showing them, this is what I heard from what you said. And many times that individual who's just shared is like, wow, how did you pick that up?
I
And
know.
there's a shift in perspective. And I've just put this up on my LinkedIn in the last few days as I'm pondering a shift in perspective more often than not is far more valuable than smarts and
Oh,
degrees
totally.
and
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
A shift in perspective is so valuable. But the other thing that I wanted to table is, and I'm going back to my time with Kevin and his peer-to-peer coaching group, was I spent the first few hours practicing not giving advice. That's one of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
is you're not here to give advice. You're here to ask quality questions.
Hmm.
You're here to do everything except tell the person what to do.
Exactly. And it, you
And
kind of you allow the answer to reveal itself to
yeah,
that person, you know, and that's the power of it. It's not somebody preaching to somebody else. It's not me as the facilitator doing that. It's not anybody else in the group
there's no
doing that.
projecting on you. Well, I
No.
did it this way 5 years ago, and you need to do it this way
Yeah.
because I did it. And if you don't, then you're wrong. None of that.
Yeah. And I
None of
think we all, even in friendship groups, I think we automatically jump into that, you know, the advice gremlin of needing to give advice, or that when somebody shares something with us, that that is the expected response to say,
that.
well, I know exactly what you need to do. And, you know, we all know that we don't actually need that. Sometimes we just need an ear. We need somebody who can empathize, who can kind of go, okay, talk it out. And that's what it is. It's a forum to just share and to, as you say, gain those fresh perspectives. And actually, again, another thing I found is other people sharing things where it's very clear for you when you're listening to it going, oh my God, I can't believe they feel like that. And they've accomplished X, Y, and Z. And, you know, I'm thinking of imposter syndrome for women, which has been actually since we've launched one of the themes that is coming in, you know, in terms of things they might be struggling with and creating their own brand and getting themselves out there and elevating themselves for promotion and other things. It's you're listening and you're like, why is that person thinking so lowly of themselves? Or, you know, that's the, but and then you kind of reflect on that as well, and you're like, okay, I'm able to identify it in somebody else, and I'm able to kind of go, you know, quietly in my own head, that's crazy, and yet I feel that about myself. So, you know, it's there's a two-pronged way that it's very self-reflective. And like anything in coaching, I think that's the big thing, that the peer, like coaching is all about increasing self-awareness on a one basis. And this peer group, for me, I think just gives you an elevated sense of self-awareness, because it's not you speaking one-to-one with a coach. Um, it's in this peer network, and you're picking up on others and how, you know, they're dealing with things, and how they see things, as we said, from what you've said. And it's just so revealing. And I think that self-awareness is the strength that we, you know, it just brings you to that elevated place where you get a lot more clarity about what it is that you're struggling with, or that you're trying to see through. And I've experienced that this year, you know, and trying to go, God, there's so many things going on in my head. I can't see for the wood for the trees. I can't formulate, you know, it's all up in the air. So I think this forum of kind of peer coaching is a way to kind of help you crystallize some of that,
Yeah.
and just gain that clarity. Um,
Well, on your website, givetakegrow.ie, there's this statement: we is better than me,
yes.
which I think encapsulates everything that we've just discussed here, the power of the community, and the reflection that we get for ourselves by being able to identify with other members who are going through a similar struggle. And you're right, we always hear it go, how can you not be feeling confident? But at the same time, we ourselves experience those exact same things. And I think it's
Mm,
a condition of being human.
yeah.
Anytime we move ourselves into uncertainty, we trigger fear, shame, guilt, imposter syndrome, which I think for me is a necessary friction that we have to go through in order to grow into the version of ourselves that gets to stand on the top of that particular mountain peak. So it's not necessarily getting rid of it, it's being able to sit with a group of peers and say, what are the strategies that we can engage to best deal and mitigate with it, or mitigate it and maybe dance with it?
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to talk to you about your vision for Give, Take, Grow. So, and 2021, you have this thriving community, and what do you see for them? What are you holding for them?
Yeah, no, look, I suppose the vision is that there would be this huge network of women, not just in Ireland, but again, that's the beauty of virtual and Zoom, that we can do this, you know, and mix people from different nationalities and groups. It's just that there is this huge network, and what I want to do ultimately post COVID is bring people together. So bring the larger group together, maybe, you know, once a quarter, hopefully not all the time virtual, but actually in physical presence, and just share, feel that energy of people. And I think that will be a warmer, you know, you'll be able to walk into that room and feel like actually there is a kinship here. You know what I mean? We've all kind of been through and experienced the power of this, and we're all very much aligned in terms of the importance and value that we see in that community. And I just wanted to be a resource where, you know, women are you know, they can turn back and see, God, what I've gained in the 12 months of being involved in Give, Take, Grow. You know, maybe it involved to change your career based on something that they heard and learned about themselves in that process. And it's, for me, it's the awareness. I'm really excited about it, because I just think it has huge potential, and I'm really passionate about, women progressing. And that doesn't have to be heads of and CEOs. It's just about fulfilling their own potential.
Yeah.
And what I really want, my absolute desire for Give Take Grow ultimately is that it becomes this tool, if you like, or this it is a community, but a community that is giving back so much, and allowing women out there to kind of feel like they have a platform, people who understand them, somewhere they can go to put these things out there and to talk about challenges and issues that they're facing, and ultimately get to where they need to go. And that's what I want. I want it just to be a resource that's out there, that's very commonly known, that people dip into and really get that value out of. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited about it, and obviously I've just launched it, so I have big big hopes. But no, it just comes from personal experience. I think this is what has made me do it, even though I've suffered that imposter syndrome in the launch, or coming up to the launch of this, like many people will experience, as you said, when you change anything or you go outside your comfort zone. But I've just been so compelled, based on my own experience, of how valuable it was to me, and then talking to others out there, that I kind of know through recruitment and other things, and they were like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And it comes back to this sense of authenticity around connection, that women more than men need to feel in order to share, or to feel like it's a value to them. And I think that's where, in my own experience, and a lot of people I've spoken to, go into some other events where you're just holding a glass of wine and you're kind of mingling and you're networking, and we all hate that word. And it just feels insincere, or there's something that we're not comfortable about, that sort of scenario. And I've spoken to so many women who feel that. So again, the mission of Give Take Grow is to take networking, because it's so important for your career development regardless. Okay, so we've got to get comfortable with it. But again, what I'm hoping to do with Give Take Grow is to bring networking and try and make it more authentic, by keeping these groups really small, make it more meaningful, give more value back, um, and get to share more of yourself, and in the process, as I said, gain that self-awareness. And I just think that is so much more valuable than standing in a room of 300 people who you don't know and hoping to hand out a few business cards. I'm
It
not good in
sounds
those
like
rooms at all.
a container. It sounds like a container to facilitate individual growth while collectively elevating everyone in the room virtually.
Exactly. And yeah. And I
Yeah.
want it, like, there will be a Facebook group, but there is a Facebook group. So there's a private group for members. And I want women in those groups to, if they're starting businesses, put that up, share that out. You know what I mean? If there's things that they need, or resources, or if they're hiring within their businesses and they want to give, put that out to a network, and have these networks where we can support each other, and we can become more aware what others are doing and what others need. And if there's things within the community that can answer that need or can help that, again, that's what I want that to be.
Brilliant. Any final words before we wrap up this conversation?
Uh, well, obviously, if you're listening and you're interested, check out givetakegrow.ie, or email me, Jennifer at givetakegrow.ie, for any questions about how it works. But hopefully the website is clear enough. But no, look, thanks very much for having me, Shannon. I'm just so excited about this. I had sort of sick to my stomach before I put it out there, post
Publish.
on LinkedIn on Friday. But I'm really encouraged. I knew the concept would work, based on, I'd done a lot of research and talking to women of my own age, about this, and getting, kind of just reinforcing what I thought was needed out there. So I'm just really excited about it.
Well, I think
And
it's testament to the power of this idea by how much your nerves have rattled you in the run up to publishing, and yet you dug deeper and found it within you to keep going anyway. I think that's a real testament to the quality of your idea.
well, yeah, look at, yeah, I suppose you just gotta, what does it feel to figure and do it anyway. And yeah, look at, it is, but it's, as you said, there's a lot going on, but, and obviously Savvy is still there in terms of the recruitment business. And it is those insights from, like, 9 years in recruitment. I've coached and mentored, even though, you're not technically their coach, you're kind of walking them through a career change or a transition. You gain, and I've seen so many themes and issues. And it's not that men do things better than women. That's not what I'm out here trying to say. But there are
We're
themes in
different.
terms of, we're different. We
We
have
do
unique
things
challenges.
differently.
We have a unique journey. Um, and it's just different. And I think what I want to do is just put that out there. I want to share it. I want to talk about, because sometimes when I talk about the things that I see in terms of trends, people go, really? Oh God. And they kind of get that sort of jolt of going, I wouldn't have thought that, whether it's pay negotiation or negotiating a promotion or whatever it might be. And I just think, God, I maybe have something, you know what I mean, in terms of the
Mhm.
9 years that I should put out there. So again, that's my forum to do it.
Mhm.
And we'll have the Facebook sort of live sessions once a month in terms of the Ask Me Anything, just for people, again, members, to just put any sort of what they might think is trivial questions, but if they need help or kind of just a bit of advice, we'll do that once a month then as well.
Beautiful. Jen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
I'm
very much.
excited. I'm excited to see how it evolves. I think we should have you back in the summer of 2021 to talk about progress and updates and all the wormholes that you probably will find yourself in on the way.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I'd love that.
The Work That Matters podcast, it's brought to you by ShannonEastman.com.